The album Face is Jimin's first solo project, a new starting point for Jimin. This EP consists of 6 songs: Face Off, Interlude Dive, Like Crazy, Alone, Set Me Free Part 2 and Like Crazy English version. Jimin is credited in lyrics and composition on 5 of the 6 tracks. It was mentioned in the media that Face is an album that contains the story of facing yourself completely and preparing for a new start as an artist. Jimin. Face, the reflection of myself in an unfamiliar appearance. Face of facing the deepest part of inner self. An echo, tremor and small movement to reach you. The album has 2 versions, the software and the hardware version, a theme we see all throughout the EP. The album cover is a mirror, a slightly distorted one. You can see the wave-like pattern embossed on the circles altering the face lettering. The wave-like pattern in the water was also strongly used in the album teaser, strongly indicating the connection with reflection as such and reflection in relation to the past self. By interacting with your reflected self, you face hard truths that rise to the surface. Your solid reflection will be distorted. Jimin mentioned in an interview, "I believe that everyone has a deeper aspect of themselves that they don't really want to confront. I made my solo album while peering at the feelings deep within myself." Even the word face can be used as a noun, or as a verb as in to confront. I want to show my true face and speak to you honestly. For those who are used to seeing the glamorous side of me on stage, this album will show the other side of me, and show me overcoming my loneliness and struggles through music. In another interview he states, "I want to introduce my sincere feelings that I haven't taken out anywhere, and that my true self is melted. As I look back at myself, I honestly expressed my feelings in music. When I faced emptiness or loneliness, I think I had the will or strength to prepare for a new beginning. Since for every song, the emotions are all different, I wanted to express those feelings the way they are through the production. In the first part of the album, there's anger. The main track Like Crazy, it feels happy, but there's also loneliness behind it."
페이스라는 이제 뜻이 얼굴이라는 뜻도 있지만 뭐 직면하다, 대면하다, 마주하다 이런 뜻이 있더라고요. 이 앨범 또한 저 자신을 온전하게 직면하는 시간을 보내면서 진정한 저를 마주하게 되었다는 의미에서 페이스라는 앨범을 준비하게 되었습니다. 두 번째 키워드입니다. 레저넌스, 공명 울림이라는 뜻입니다. 앨범 페이스의 로고를 보면 동심원의 물결이 이렇게 퍼지는 것 같은 형상을 띠고 있는데요. 이 앨범은 특히 저의 내면을 들여다보면서 만든 앨범이라 할 수 있는데, 깊숙한 내면은 크고 작은 파문이 일듯이 변하잖아요. 그런 의미에서 저의 내면을 담은 앨범을 저만의 목소리로 전달한다는 의미도 있습니다. 세 번째 키워드입니다. First입니다. 페이스는 저의 첫 번째 솔로 앨범인데요. 방탄소년단 앨범에 수록된 솔로곡이나 자작곡을 공개할 때와는 확실히 다른 기분을 느끼고 있는 것 같아요. 제 자신을 온전히 마주함으로써 새로운 출발점에 설 수 있게 되었다는 이야기를 담고 있습니다. 이제 아무래도 되돌아보는 앨범이다 보니까 자기가 자신을 마주한다 이런 의미로 페이스를 지어주셨는데 좋더라고요, 되게. 쉽게 얘기하자면 이제 페이스가 얼굴이라는 뜻이잖아요. 그죠? 이제 이게 대면하다, 직면하다 이런 의미로도 쓰인다고 하더라고요. 근데 이 앨범이 이제 팬데믹 겪으면서 이제 겪었던 감정들을 되돌아보는 앨범이다 보니까 페이스로 정하게 됐습니다. 사실 이 앨범은 알고 계실 거라고 생각이 들지만 제 자신을 팬데믹도 겪고 그 상황에서 제가 느꼈던 감정들을 뭔가 순차적으로 되돌아보는 감정을 정리하는 그런 앨범입니다. 그래서 많은 분들께서 그냥 공감해 주실 수 있다면 저는 기쁘게 받아들일 수 있을 것 같습니다. 와우. 와우. 아니 그런 건 아니었고요. 이게 첫 앨범이고 그리고 또 앞서 말씀드렸다시피 이제 저를 되돌아보는 앨범이다 보니 다른 사람의 피처링이 들어가는 게 되게 웃길 것 같다는 얘기를 많이 했었어요. 이제 여러 가지 얘기를 많이 나누다가 결국에는 저 혼자서 이번에는 도전을 해보게 되었고요. 승부수나 이런 거창한 의미를 두고 만들지는 않았습니다. 이런 느낌으로 하는 거구나. 겉에부터 보면은 물에 이렇게 비친 것처럼 뭔가 물방울이 딱 떨어진 것처럼 이렇게 딱 퍼지는 모습을 이렇게 표지로 이렇게 만들어 주셨습니다. 반짝반짝.
Theory. The album's teaser pictures were of him dressed and naked. One of Jimin's fans' theory was that since software is the internal matrix, intangible and emotive, and hardware is an external shell, cold and sharp, you'd think nakedness would be categorized as software, since it leaves you exposed and vulnerable. But with Jimin, while he is comfortable in his own skin, he associates the state of nakedness with performance and stagecraft. For a dancer like Jimin, his naked body is not a private, personal entity. While these songs can be about relationships and friendships with other people, in this video I wanted to bring together all the fan theories where within this album Jimin takes us through a journey of self-discovery and acceptance. The short summary of the album's story. Face Off, there needs to be confrontation with all of his personas. Jimin is angry. Interlude, Dive, knows he has to dive into inner self to face the parts he doesn't accept. Like Crazy, he is in a dreamlike state, avoids the reality. Alone, wakes up from the dream. Loneliness, Set Me Free Part 2, confronting himself and setting himself free. Face Off is the first song of the album. It's described as a trap soul genre. When you listen to it, you realize this song is very intense, rebellious, and has a lot of anger. But starting it with the carnival sound would be a stark contrast to the rest of the vibe. Theory. With this, it's time for Jimin to face his inner feelings and surroundings that may not be good for him. But is Jimin ready to face himself, to accept the dark parts of himself or that once were a prominent part of him? You can pause to read the lyrics. The song. The lyrics. Jimin is fed up and annoyed. Here comes in play the panopticon theory, a theory that has a big part in this album. Jimin faces his dual identities, prisoner and guard. One is constantly being watched by us, the audience, and one is constantly watched by himself, the latter a rigorous form of self-discipline and perfectionism. In this song, Jimin could be talking about himself. The title Face Off implies a removal of an external face or hardware, showing what lies underneath, the software. The lyrics depict you as an aggressive person. This connects to how the auto-tuned voice in Set Me Free sings the most aggressive lines of the song. Hence representing the hardware Jimin. Trace of you taking every part of me connects to the face theme of his identity and self.
네, 그럼 첫 번째 트랙 페이스 오프부터 한번 이야기를 한번 해보지.
이 설명하기가 곡들을 너무 노골적이라 설명하기 참 어려워.
이게 왜 노골적으로 지금 내 모습을 봐. 살아 머저리 같이.
이제 시작인 거지. 패데믹도 시작됐고
사람을 믿는
친구들이랑도 많이 멀어지는 시기가 있었고.
머저리 같이 났습니까 이때?
형도 잘 아실 텐데.
아 있었지.
예.
뭐 이야기 해야 돼?
그니까 이게 이 앨범은 뭔가 팬들한테 설명하기가 너무 어려워.
이 1번 트랙 페이스 오프에 대한 그
감정? 키워드? 원래는 키워드가 뭐였냐면요. 이건 못 나가는데 잘 들어보면 음악 안에 깔려 있긴 해요.
Interlude Dive is described to have dreamy instrument sounds. In the audio, you can hear panting as Jimin is running alone, him reaching the stage and receiving cheers as he introduces himself, footsteps of him leaving the concert. And then at the end you can hear him pouring himself a drink, being alone once again. If you listen to the track, you might hear sounds of someone panting for air or me running somewhere. I wanted to give this feeling that I was lost and wandering. I actually recorded myself running around using my phone, and it was a fun process. Like Crazy is the main track of the EP. It was described as a synth-pop song with intense synth sound and drum sound, upon which Jimin's poignant timbre draws a beautiful distinction. Jimin mentioned that it's a song that expresses the emotion of a moment when you escape from reality to forget your wounds. He found inspiration in the 2011 Drake Dormus-directed drama of the same name. Struck by the film's depiction of a passionate romance between a British woman and American man whose relationship can never stabilize because of visa issues and their respective careers, he tried to convey these ambiguous feelings through the song's choreography. I think I have paid a lot of attention to the film's emotional lines when I sang it to convey the sadness of the lyrics. Theory. The first teaser photo for Like Crazy once again showed Jimin in the middle of chaos. There's mud and water on the floor and the overall feeling is really lonely and melancholic. We're in the middle of change, self-discovery, and acceptance. Jimin is escaping from his reality, from all the problems he doesn't want to face, in a dream. He is using partying as a way to escape and let the chaos surround him. He knows that all of this is an illusion, but he prefers it that way. At the same, even if it's an illusion to escape his problems and run away from his darker parts of inner self, he is still surrounded by chaos, the chaos that is still a part of him. Notice how in the start of the video the hand that pulls him into this dream is his hardware self. Then the girl that is singled out in the music video could also represent Jimin's hardware, past self. That's why they never meet, and when they do see each other, the next scene is Jimin in front of the mirror looking at his reflection, reminding him that she or the hardware self is still a part of him whether he likes to accept it or not. We also see this more clearly in the song's choreography. The girl is used as Jimin's reflection. In the end of the video, we see Jimin walking out of that party with mud on his shoes. When Jimin, or the software version of him, sits down in front of the table, his hand is also covered with mud. One fan was reminded of the dream interpretation of mud. Mud appears in our dreams, reflecting sinking or stagnation relating to your emotional state of mind. These dreams want you to focus on your life's path and the minor difficulties you may encounter along the way. Jimin will need to come out of the dreamlike state to face himself fully.
여러 가지의 감정과 기억들 속에 제 방과 제 손이 진흙이 되는 걸 보실 수 있을 것 같습니다. 보시죠.
Out of the dance choreography also comes another theory. Jimin is fighting his feminine and masculine sides. The female dancers, or his feminine side, are closer to him, representing his inner self that he doesn't show the public. The male dancers, or his masculine side, is outside for the world to see. We can also see him dancing with the same number of female and male dancers. Both sides are trying to pull him in. When he gives in to the feminine side, they are harsh with him. They don't fully get along or understand each other, so he goes back to dance with the male dancers. After being face-to-face or having a face-off with his feminine side, the girl gets behind Jimin, possibly representing that his feminine side will always be a part of him. After the confrontation, he dances with all of the dancers. Perhaps the both sides found their place in him and they can both be a part of him without putting up a fight against each other. Now Jimin is the one who can set himself free and needs to accept all of him. And the dance also starts and ends with Jimin alone, making the in-between look like his inner battle. The non-sharp groovy movements also could further convey the feeling of being in a hazy dream-like atmosphere.
소개를 해드리자면 상처를 잊기 위해서 현실을 외면하고 도피하는 순간의 감정을 표현한 곡인데요. 그 Like Crazy라는 영화를 보고 영감을 얻었고 좀 가사의 애절함을 전달하기 위해서 노래를 부를 때도 좀 감정선에 신경을 많이 썼던 것 같아요.
Next song on the album is Alone. It's described as a pop ballad genre. The song starts off with an alarm clock. The dreamlike state is over. Jimin needs to finally face himself. You can pause to read the lyrics. Theory. It feels like he knows that there is no escaping. There are no excuses to make anymore. He needs to accept all of him, and it's a painful and lonely process for him.
네 번째 트랙이죠, Alone. 지난 2년 동안 팬데믹 상황에서 작업을 통해 가지고 당시 쓸쓸하고 공허한 감정들을 곡에 많이 녹였습니다. 특히 Alone이라는 곡은 무기력한 날들을 지내는 동안 좀 두려움이나 걱정의 감정이 많이 담겨 있는데요. 실제로 곡 녹음할 때 그때의 감정을 좀 표현하고 몰입하느라 굉장히 힘들었습니다. 녹음할 때 특히 그랬던 것 같아요. 네, 다행히 원하는 느낌 나온 것 같은데 여러분들도 한번 들어봐 주시고 느껴주시면 좋을 것 같습니다.
Set Me Free Part 2 was the pre-release single. This is a song that announces Jimin's solo arrival in a major way. Big horns, the choir, assertive lyrics, and a serious beat. The song was described as a hip-hop song with a determined will to shake off various emotions such as pain, sadness, and emptiness and move forward freely. From serious lyrics and melodies to Jimin's rap, there are various points to appreciate. As with every other decision around the record, the choice to lead with this single was intentional. In an interview, Jimin mentioned, "We tried to focus on the performance and express the really intense vibe of the song. The key point was freedom. This is the last track on the album, the last of the emotions. It's very intense, so I wanted to announce a Jimin solo in an impactful way." Theory. The teaser picture for the video showed a panopticon, a prison. With Mitchell Foucault's theory of panopticism, it's the subjection to a social and symbolic order, a conscious self-observation. In the original theory, the prison is circular with a tall structure at its center so that the prisoners always feel like they are being watched. It's a sinister form of surveillance. Prisoners are compelled into a state of self-observation. They become complicit in their own subjection. However, in the video, Jimin takes the center. We could also argue that he is taking control of the narrative instead. He's at no one's mercy. He is free. Jimin is liberating himself from the system through his experience and subverting it and taking control of the center. Also in the video, even when the dancers are surrounding him, there is always a gap to break free. In the spiral, he chooses to go inwards even if he's already at the open end. He chooses to not to escape but to embrace the eyes on him, embrace being surrounded. He chooses control and to go his own path. The same self-observation theory can further reflect the chaos testing method, which are self-controlled setbacks with known variables that eventually result in improvements in self. We saw this in Jimin's solo photo portfolio ID, Chaos. Chaos is a test that is run for hardware and software operating systems simultaneously to find any crashes in the process. It's engineering experiments on a system in order to build confidence in the system's capability to withstand turbulent conditions. So Jimin is running a test for resiliency, a way to face the uncertainties right now. In the video, Jimin is the center of the attention and at the heart of the action, as dozens of dancers glide their way through gloriously choreographed drama. Throughout the whole video, he is once again in the middle of chaos. Jimin is continuously being the subject of the dancers, while the dancers continue their movements in a sequence as if they are obeying someone's orders. Jimin stands out. He doesn't want to follow the crowd anymore. For that, dancers point him out and try to push him back into their crowd. At one point in the video, Jimin is shirtless with tattoos of a German poem by Rainer Maria Rilke. The poem reads, "I live my life in growing circles, which ring out over the things around me. Perhaps I'll never finish the last, but I intend to try. I'm circling around God, around the ancient tower. And I've been circling for thousands of years. And I still don't know, am I a falcon, a storm, or a great song?" The poem can also tie back to Foucault's panopticon theory. He is either circling the prison while being always observed with the rest of the crowd, or he is the one in the center taking the lead and breaking out of the system. Maybe some of you have also noticed that being a part of the system, playing and messing with the system till you can finally set yourself free, has been a running theme of Jimin's solo songs such as Lie and Filter. One other theory about this poem that I like ties together with the golden ratio spiral that can also be seen in the video. Falcons fly in a golden spiral path, which is the most energy efficient path with the least resistance. This could be the path Jimin wishes to go forward with. He is done resisting any part of him. He is on the path of greatness, and he can finally work without him physically and mentally exhausting himself. In his newest Vogue Korea interview, Jimin said, "I've learned over the years that it's neither healthy nor productive to push myself to be perfect in everything. I want to show my fans only the best, but I also have to take a healthy, sustainable approach." Some people take this line lightly, but this whole video and song obviously has a deeper meaning. Jimin is referred to as the frontman of BTS and frontman of K-pop, and it comes with a price. BTS have received a lot of negativity and harsh criticism all throughout their career. If people want to target BTS members, Jimin is usually the first member they go after, and it's not insults that doesn't mean anything over the internet, but literal death threats where there needs to be police involved, stalkers, or stolen mail to create a smear campaign. Literally every idol's fans at one point have tried to make up rumors, especially around the time he is releasing music, just to try to turn the general Korean public against him. There is chaos around him wherever he goes, and of course he is aware of it. But they fail every time. He is above all of it. If perhaps he used to surrender to these comments to not stand out and blend in with the rest, then now he is unstoppable. His prime time has started. He doesn't care about others' opinions about him. There is also a discussion about the use of auto-tune in this song. It's quite obvious that it was an artistic choice only hot people could understand. It once again emphasized the two different sides of face. Jimin was not using auto-tune to sound better, because he doesn't need it, but he was using it to make the sound more dramatic and more loud, with which he showed his older or different self. The two voices are talking to each other. Jimin is asking the auto-tune voice to repeat the mantra of never stopping, as that's what the song is about. Never stop and set yourself finally free. Turning on the subtitles, you can see that the auto-tuned voice, or the old Jimin, is in the quotation marks repeating Jimin's words. Not to mention that the auto-tune part was only used for about 30 seconds. The rest of the 3 minutes was without it, which means it did what it was supposed to do. It was loud, it was dark, it was chaos. The concept of distortion through the mirror's reflection of self that I mentioned earlier with the album covers concept is also continued through the song's use of aggressive auto-tune. It creates a dichotomy, which is natural versus distorted voice, Jimin's software and hardware versions arguing with each other. The auto-tune also helped to create the chaos that I mentioned earlier. It's all connected.
앨범이 나오기 전에 먼저 선공개된 세미프리인데요. 장르는 힙합입니다. 내면의 어두운 감정들을 떨쳐내고 자유롭게 나아가겠다는 내용의 가사인데요. 오케스트라 사운드의 합창까지 더해져서 시작부터 굉장히 웅장하고 그런 느낌이 듭니다. 특히 제가 이번에 랩을 한번 도전해봤는데, 이게 랩이라고 하기도 좀 그런데요. 새로운 도전이었으니까 또 재밌는 감상 포인트가 되지 않을까 싶고, 또 제가 특히나 또 애착하는 곡이라 여러분들께서 좀 즐겨주시면.
And since the album description was about the circle of resonance, reflection of vulnerable minds and unexpected wounds, this can also tie together with yin and yang. The only way to become complete is by accepting the dark parts of yourself. I thought it was important that I be the one to set myself free, not someone else. In the end, I'm the one who has to set myself free. With Set Me Free as the last song of the album, in the video ending we can see that Jimin has accepted all his shadows and is ready to move on. The chaos dies down around him. It no longer has a hold of him. And since these are the last of the emotions of the album, we get this Jimin, now with light clothes looking back at us. To me, this feels like to be continued. I'm now free. I know every part of the light and the dark, so nothing is holding me back. This is my prime time. See you next with a new album about my current emotions. Hidden track. In the album with the CD after the English version of Like Crazy, we get to hear a hidden track named Letter. After the roller coaster of emotions that was this EP, this song is a hidden gem full of light, hope, and comfort. You can pause to read the lyrics. Jimin actively participated in the whole work process, from planning the stage of the album to the song and music video, and melted his musical color and ability. Waves originated from the deepest invisible inner world, pass through the face on the surface, and reach others to resonate while transmitting the inner voice. The Face album covers water like ripples reflect the many images the public have moduled of Jimin and his music. This album completely distorts that and will have a ripple effect of what we think of him and the music he does. He has the range and he will not be afraid to explore it. Wave spreads beautifully, finding its own flow despite wounds and distortions from a smallest scratch. The face of unwavering effort despite repeated falls and pain. Music lets us relate to other people at any time, under any circumstance, and reminds us of who we were in those moments. That's the biggest power music has. Music can transcend countries and languages. We saw that firsthand, so we know better than anyone how powerful it can be.
이게 노골적으로 설명하기가 참 어려운 앨범인데 팬데믹을 겪는 2년 동안 내 감정을 처음에 겪었던 공허함부터 쓸쓸함을 그냥 이상하게 방황하면서 즐기는 모습부터 언론 가서는 약간의 내가 지금 뭐하고 있지? 이런 감정. 그리고 마지막에 셋미 프리 때 내가 좀 극복을 해내야겠구나 이런 감정 상태의 순서를 담은 앨범이에요. 자랑스럽다기보다는 옛날에 그 기억들과 쌓아뒀던 감정을 다 토해낸 것 같아서 굉장히 후련한 감정인 것 같아요.